good. Nancy's here.
No.
We have an audience. And I have an echo. I'm sorry if I get an echo to you out there. And we were a little late because we were trying to do sound checks. And in the course of doing sound checks, we found that we couldn't get Lennie's YouTube to play. So I'm gonna switch the order of things. The idea of this actually came from Lennie Anderson, who popped up with an email some time ago, and we started corresponding. And I remember meeting him in my bookstore days, and I actually still have an album of his. You remember those 33 RPM? And so I knew that Lennie had a couple of Wallowa songs, and I remembered that Heidi has a Wallowa song, and that Steve and Kate have Wallowa songs. So I thought we'd have a little celebration of Wallowa songs. So all of those of you out there, let's then start with Steve and Kate. Lennie, we're going to shove you to the end of the line and hope we come up with something, or you find your own guitar, okay? So Kate and Steve first came to Wallowa County to fish trap when I think Greg Crothers, right?
Right.
Was doing a songwriting workshop.
That's
And
right.
they came and Kate took the workshop, and then I found out that Kate's just a hell of a songwriter. So she came up here to teach workshop. And then Steve and Kate became our only songwriters in residence. They visited all of our schools. And most famously, they spent a couple of days in Troy. And we had a
Rich?
concert in the Troy school. Concert and a potluck.
Can everyone mute themselves if not speaking?
Yep. I'm going to mute myself right now, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve and Kate to talk a little bit and sing a song.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. It's so wonderful to be here and to see some faces from Wallowa.
Hi, Laura.
We miss you guys. This song came about when we were in a beautiful beautiful house on Wallowa Lake in the winter of 2007.
And we were in that house because the two houses that Rich had arranged for us to live in both had frozen pipes. And when the plumber came out to check it out, he said, well, I'll have those thawed out by June. And I believe that this was in January. So he found us this glorious house on the lake.
Yeah, Allison's house. And so Steve had to put the chains on our VW van at the time to get over the hill, to go down to the store to get food. And I don't know why, but one of the characteristics of our partnership is when he goes food shopping, I write songs. And so I was looking at the lake, and it was completely frozen, except for one little hole in the middle. And it made these strange sounds, and it was so spooky and wonderful. And I had my banjo, and I'm going to play it on guitar today. But this song, I knew when I was there that I would never be in another place like that, probably in my whole life, and that I would be in all these places in the world, and I would think about Wallowa County and remember what it felt like to be there. And this song for me is that expression. Very simple chords, so Laura, you can play this on banjo like so simply.
It's in the key of B flat.
You gonna join me? Looking out across the lake, the
May not be muted now.
geese are flying high, pulling north to spring ahead, and winter leave behind. Underneath the band There's no place like home, sweet home, sweet home. Riding in the wilderness, deep canyons red and brown, with rivers full of summer fish, meandering little brown. In the heart when a hot river trove, rattlesnakes and hooting owls and lost cowboys. Well, I hear your song, it sings to me on city streets across the sea, where I belong and long to be. I hear you calling, I hear you call. Now I'm back to city life and buildings by the mile, far apart from country roads and mule deer running wild. There's a place inside, open wide and free. It comes to me from time to time, sweet memory. I hear your song, it sings to me on city streets across the sea, where I belong, long to be. I hear you calling, I hear you call. I hear you calling, I hear you call. Oh, good. Could you hear that all right? Oh, good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
What a
and
great
everybody.
experience. I'll never be the same. Thank you.
So I'll tell everybody out there in the audience, because some people came on a little later too. I think your CDs are still available at the Book Loft, is that correct?
Oh, good. And on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And and that song is on which CD?
Brick and mortar. Brick and mortar.
Brick and Mortar. That's the one with the great photo,
Yes.
That's right.
crossing the bridge at Troy. Yeah. Have you had to put on any chains, Steve, since you left here?
Not a one.
Once.
I'm wearing beads around my neck. No chain. No.
Okay. Well,
And I just want to say that gig in Troy was so memorable. We were in a one-room schoolhouse. We had 3 students that day, usually just 2, but the homeschooler came in. And it was a schoolroom surrounded by black cows. And the song we wrote with the kids was Bovine in the Bleachers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. We had a full house for the potluck too.
Oh man, a lot of beef dishes that night. Yeah.
Can I jump in here for a moment because you mentioned Troy, and
Sure.
My partner Jenny, the banjo playing partner, and I hooked up with a fiddle player back in this is 73. And Lester Kiesacker was a wonderful fiddle player, and he owned a ranch down at Troy, and we went down there with him to play a dance because we had met. We had got his name from the hardware store and went out to his place and hit it off like gangbusters with the Oklahoma Hills by Woody Guthrie. And we formed an instant band. Now we stayed at Lester's place down there and we fed on elk steak. Lester carried his 30-06 in the pickup because he said, you never know when your elk's gonna show up and you gotta be ready. And there's some more stories, but we played for the dance down in Troy, and that's only part of the memory from those days. But I don't want to take up the whole time here with old stories.
Lester played a mean saw too.
He did play the saw, that's right. But he especially liked to drink a little bit and then play out on the dance floor. So if it was a waltz, Lester was waltzing with everyone else as he played the fiddle, and then we were guitar and banjo, and we were kind of holding the rhythm there a little bit, and we all had a pretty good time. We also played Elgin. I think we did one other that winter of 73.
Winter of 73. Okay.
Yeah, that was before your time, Rich.
No, I was here in 71, but the bookstore wasn't until 76.
But let me just say, what I think I'll do today when my turn comes is talk a little bit about meeting Grace Bartlett.
Okay.
I really want to remind people of what a pillar of that community Grace Bartlett was for 50 some years. And we had the pleasure of being good friends. And I did write a song about her, which I never recorded, but I'll put the words up and I'm happy to try to sing it just a cappella, and we can all sing it together when my turn comes. How's that? I can do the screen share with a text, but I haven't figured out how to do the sound part. So I'll cut out here.
Okay. Okay, well then we're going to jump to Heidi and Bob. And Heidi and Bob showed up because they were, Heidi was an old music partner of Janice Carper, and Janice Carper was working with me at Fish Trap, and we were doing songwriting, and Janice said, I know Heidi, and Heidi came, and Heidi taught songwriting as well. And then she and Bob came out with her partner. They were in West Virginia at the time, and they taught, they played. We did a concert at the Fish Trap House. Remember that one, Heidi?
Oh yeah.
Had a full house there.
Yeah.
And then they even moved here. They moved here. And Janice is still here, and they're a big part of the Wallowa Valley Music Alliance. We've got more musicians around this county now than probably we had in Lester Kiesecker's day. Okay, Heidi and Bob, you take it away and talk and play and do what you.
So, Rich, I came into this thinking we would do one song, but I think we should do two, and I think we might have time for that. Would that work with you?
Can you hear?
That would be great.
Okay, great.
So,
Thanks.
so that's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang
Oh,
on.
and I don't have a.
Oh, you need a
my only
strap?
problem is I
Oh,
don't.
there's straps over there. Excuse us. We weren't expecting this.
Well, we were, but we weren't. We weren't sure.
Yeah.
Dad, do you need me to do anything?
Oh, no, we're fine.
We were
We're all
going to do
family
this
here.
other one, but we'll do this one first. And yeah. So
Does the-
Bob and I
Quick
first
question, does the mandolin come through? Okay, I've got the mic set for the cello, but,
It sounds great in the earphones.
okay, good.
Can you
we'll
get
go
this
for it.
one?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Hold tight.
So we first came to the county in 2003, and Janice had gotten us that house concert essentially at Fish Trap. But I had known Janice for going back 25 years, and we were in a songwriting group in the Puget Sound area. We did a lot of open mics and such around Seattle and Tacoma and all that. Yeah, and then we came back and we were at a benefit for the Music Alliance, and then Rich really surprised me that night by coming up and asking if I'd like to teach songwriting at Fish Trap, which was then going to be 2005, and we started coming back every year. We would get in Bob's Toyota 4Runner and drive across the country and take about 3 weeks, and we learned a heck of a lot out here, and I'll talk about a little more of that before the next song. But this is a song that I wrote. I stayed out here for a number of months one time from the fall to the spring, and we had a little songwriting group with Janice and Rod Amberson and Carolyn Lockhart, and we did songwriting together. Then we made a CD called Songs from the End of the Road, and this was one of my contributions. And Bob and I recently recorded this again on a newer CD. Okay,
Yeah,
here
get
we
her
go.
up there.
1, 2, 3. Rivers and rangeland, rigs and four-wheelers, red tails and cottonwoods, hounds and blue heelers, glacial erratics, terminal ale, rodeos, sled dogs, magpies and quail, red barns and grange halls, Tamcalic's powwow, elk with new antlers, thinks he's a cow now, roads off to nowhere, nowhere to go, out in the county, it's blowing with snow, it's hard, but it's worth it to live on this land, there are no guarantees of a bird in the hand, we carve and we chisel, we plant and we plow, we're sticking it out in Wallowa. Cowboys and Indians, Cowboys and Indians, Maxville and Promise, hayfields and timber, Clydesdales and llamas, trailheads and prayer flags up Hurricane Creek, Bolby Stone Trophy Home, century-old brick, cattle and horses, canyons and prairie, camas and bitterroot, wild huckleberry, memories of Joseph, miners and gold, ranch wives and wood stoves, and winters so cold. It's hard, but it's worth it to live on this land. There are no guarantees of a bird in the hand. We carve and we chisel, we plant and we plow. We're sticking it out in Wallowa. No Starbucks, no Walmart, no traffic, no stoplights, no money, no worries, just stay out of bar fights, the neon and nightlife, and finally live fountains can't hold a candle to the moon on the mountains. There's beauty in silence, deep as the sky, spirit and salmon and dreams you can't buy, friendship and fellowship, all here together through fire and drought, wind and fair weather. It's hard, but it's worth it to live on this land. There are no guarantees of a bird in the hand. We carve and we chisel, we plant and we plow. We're sticking it out in Wallowa.
And indeed, we are sticking it out.
Well, when we didn't know we were going to move here, that came quite a bit later, and it did take us a while to figure out how to do that. But in 2005, when I was doing the songwriting thing at Fish Trap, Albert Andrews Red Star was giving teachings in the afternoon. Rich, you would remember that. He was teaching about culture of the Nez Perce and history. We met together after lunch sometimes in the lodge there. And so we were introduced to this whole story of the Nez Perce and the Trek and Chief Joseph and the 1877 war, and it made a real deep impression on us. And Bob, who loves history, certainly got involved in reading everything and researching everything.
And Rich, if you remember, as we were leaving the county, we stopped by to say goodbye to you, and I asked you where I could find out more about the Nez Perce, and you handed me L.V. McWhorter's books and said, this is what you need to get. And then I realized L.V. was from West Virginia originally. So that's a whole nother story.
Well, it's kind of related, and Bob really got interested in L.V. McWhorter then, who was from West Virginia but moved to Yakima and ended up documenting the history of the 1877 war. So,
shall we?
Anyhow, Rich, you have anything to throw in there? Maybe not.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. Hold on. I got to tell you, I just got a book donated called Geyser Country, which is about the Nez Perce, or the tourists who were captured by the Nez Perce during the war. And it's edited by your friend, Lucullus McWhorter. And it's signed by him, Bob.
Oh,
Worth
wow.
$50.
I'll come down and look at that.
Yeah, we're going to have to make a little trip down to the library. So in 2005, so we had those new teachings for us from Albert, and went on home to West Virginia from here, and we were working on a new CD, and I'd been working on this idea for a while about friends of mine who had left. There was a bunch of us in the Seattle area who were a pretty tight-knit music community in the 80s and 90s. And then everybody just went off in different directions. And as related to here in Wallowa, we learned a lot taking this bus trip up to the Zumwalt, which was a part of that year. And it was, so, our first time on the Zumwalt, right? And being there where we're hearing the stories, where we see the I guess they're ponderosa pines with the areas that are carved out of them. I'm looking at Bob for the right word for it.
There's a layer of material under the bark that's very nutritious. And the women would go around when necessary and go to that layer and scrape it out and prepare it as food. And so Albert, who was with us, told us all about that. And you could always tell if it what we were looking at was because it was at the height that a woman would be working in terms of where the bare bark was on the tree.
So, those are still up there for people to see. But images and ideas that came to us from Albert went into this song because I started to look at what causes people to leave home. I started to work with the idea of leaving home and wanting to come back. And then Katrina hit New Orleans. And then a month later, Hurricane Rita hit Texas. And I actually wrote this on the night that Hurricane Rita hit. So this has sort of a connection to a lot of things, but a lot about coming home. Shall we?
Yeah.
All the places I have been, I treasure in my mind, orbiting my restless wind, they were never left behind. Friends have taken different roads and scattered from this place, but no matter where they go, I cherish every face until there comes a time when we will turn around and meet again on sacred ground. Joseph left his father's land, never to return, driven by the white man's hand and by his brother's spurn. But roots still reach through ancient loam, where singing is long gone. Spirits call the children home to hear the welcome song, until there comes a time when they will turn around and gather again on sacred ground. All that passed before us, all that lies ahead, forms the fabric of our lives, woven thread to thread. Tales taught, old songs of old, the ringing of a bell, bring us back to what we know and what is left to tell. Tonight beneath the starry bowl, the wind is whispering warm to comfort all those southern souls evicted by the storms. In my heart the table's set for Thanksgiving Day, and every wanderer wandering yet will have a place to stay until there comes a time when we will turn around and stand again on sacred ground, until there comes a time when we will turn around and stand as one on sacred ground.
Beautiful, Heidi and Bob. Thank you very much. Thank you for moving here. We like
Well-
having you. We like having you in the neighborhood.
Well, thank you. It's really great to be here. You know, like there's something that draws so many people here. There's like a spirit in the land, and these fabulous mountains and the lake, and it's so interesting. All the people who come here. Of course, we move in among all the people who've been here for generations. So it's a very interesting place to live.
It's sometimes challenging, but it's a very interesting place.
Yeah.
Challenging when you have to put on change to climb up that hill, you know? Okay, we're gonna let Lennie talk now and play or sing or do whatever the hell he wants. I will say that Lennie, I met him first, like he said, he was here prior to my bookstore days, and I can't even remember our first meeting, but I know he did a couple of concerts here, and he maybe played in the bookstore or in the basement of the medical dental building. I can't remember which. And he wrote his Wallowa song, but he also wrote a song. He stayed at Grace Bartlett's little house next to her littler house next to her little house, and then wrote when her son-in-law Clyde Hayes died, he wrote a song about Clyde. And I'm very sorry, Lennie, that Bob and Mary Kay Pace's email went south. They had their old Winnemucca email, and I've been trying to get in touch with them this morning, but I didn't do it.
Okay.
So
well,
this is being recorded, so you can say hi to them.
Yeah. Well,
Mary Kay said she wore out that tape driving between here and Oregon State.
yeah, I can bet. It moves me to just think about that. Think about being in the pines, Grace's place. And we were playing country music. My partner and I had come back from South America by way of Arkansas and played at the Mountain View Folk Center, and Jimmy Driftwood greeted us as we came off the stage and said, "Sounds like you kids have come home." And we ended up that summer up at Grace's, and that was the summer that we met Clyde. And they had the whiskey breakfast. And so we were providing the music, and Clyde was a logger, a tough country boy from North Carolina. And our music brought tears to his eyes. You can't forget that. And then we found out, a year or two later, that he had been killed. And I put that in the song, and it's on an album I did. It was recorded in the 80s. Actually, I still have some of the LPs, you know. Rich, if you're ever down in Portland, I'll give you a couple dozen of each of my LPs, and you can have them up there for all the old folks that really like are put off by digital. Anyway, I don't have that. A friend put some of my songs up on YouTube, and I sent you through the chat the link to the Song of the Nez Perce, which was a piece I wrote and recorded about late 70s. And I learned a tremendous amount from Grace Bartlett about the Nez Perce. You know, her third husband, who had died shortly before we arrived in 73, Harry Bartlett, was Nez Perce. And Grace and Harry had traveled for years the circuit of the horse racing circuit in the Northwest, and also down into some of the tracks in California. And the song I don't think I can perform the song. I'm not in the business anymore, but I wrote this song for Grace after I was up, I think the last time I played, which was probably 81, up your way. And Grace told me, well, it's getting tough to chop wood. And Emil had been her second husband, and they had gone their separate ways, but they found each other again. And she said, well, I need somebody to chop my wood. And Emil, he needed somebody who could cook for him. He just wasn't getting enough nutrition. Well, I put that into a little lyric and never recorded it, but although I have a nice performance of it from my last performance. But I would be happy to try this, do the screen share and put the lyrics up. And if one of you guys, when you pros there, can give me a G chord, maybe we can just wing it. It's a pretty easy song, has just a 1 and a 5 and then a little progression. I just want to say how much it meant to us as young travelers to be welcomed into the Wallowa Country. I was born in Caldwell, Idaho, grew up in Portland, so it's not like I discovered it from that far off. But my sister taught for many years at Eastern, and so she had a summer place up on Hurricane Creek, and we discovered that, and she said, you can go up there in the winter. So there we were, and we were walking into town to get the mail, the general delivery, and Grace, her dogs, Pan and Booger, came out to harass us a little bit, and she came out to get them and said, are you kids are you in some kind of trouble? Because it was we were walking in the snow. No, we're just going to get our mail. And we hit it off from there because, and I wanted to say, and I put it up in the chat, that her book that she was working on that winter about the first 10 years of Anglo settlement in the Wallowas. And we bickered a bit about that because I think she felt from her experience, and she's right, that the people who settled the Wallowa Valley in the 1860s to the Nez Perce War were good people. They weren't bad people. They were hardworking, good people, but we took a bad turn. Well, it's our whole history. But anyway, I had the pleasure of being a graduate in history to help edit that book a little bit. And I highly recommend it as a way to familiarize yourself with the context of the genocidal war that followed in 77. And I see the Josephy Center is here, and that was his work. But let me see if I can do a screen share, and I'll put those lyrics up.
If he needs a G chord, I got one.
And
a G chord.
Well, they can't hear us.
yeah, I could hear you. I could hear
you
a G
can?
chord. Okay, it's share. It says share. Okay. Song for Grace. Everybody see that?
Yep. Okay.
And if you get, let me see. Well, give me that G chord again. Well, that's a little low for me. Maybe we could do it. Maybe D would be better. Give me a D. Well, this is the chorus. Well, she said she only needed someone who could chop her wood. And he was only looking for someone to cook his food real good. But I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, there's love there, Lord, it ain't no lie. This magic means it's never too late to fly. Now, that's actually a little high. So let's go back down to maybe A would be good. But I have to say, I wrote this song when they first got together, but then a few years later, I think I was back in 87, and she told me the whole thing had gone to hell in a very, very painful way. So anyone who's written a song knows that once a song is written, it has a life and a kind of legitimacy of its own, even if the story that it was based on ended up different. I still like this song. And so play me that. What was that? Well, she said she only needed someone who could chop her wood. And he was only looking for someone to cook his food real good. But I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, love their Lord, it ain't no lie. Magic means it's never too late to fly. Well, she raised 2 kids up in the hills, a rancher's wife, until their soul made its escape to lead a gypsy's life. 20 years on the road with truck and trailer, traveling from track to track, with Harry and the horses racing and running and never looking back. Oh, she said she only needed someone who could chop her wood. He was only looking for someone to cook his food real good. But I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, love their Lord, it ain't no lie. This magic means it's never too late to fly. I'm not hearing anyone else, but okay. Alone again when Harry died, his ashes spread in her woods. Hanging on through the lonely winter, doing the best she could. She was reading and writing in hot pursuit of history's final word. Oh, the country that held her like the eagle's nest holds that proud bird. Oh, she said she only need someone who could chop her wood. And he was only looking for someone to cook his food real good. But I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, they love their Lord, it ain't no lie. This magic means it's never too late to fly. Okay, now I can't see the words here. Let me think a minute.
Yeah, you got to get.
She told me of them, how they'd been together some way back down the line. Then they met again, courted and decided to try it one more time. Now they live together with their ups and downs in their mountain valley home. With his bees, her books, he chops, she cooks, so much better than being alone. Well, she said she only needed someone who could chop her wood. And he was only looking for someone to cook his food real good. But I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, love their Lord, it ain't no lie. Magic means it's never too late to fly. Oh, I could tell by the twinkle in their eyes, there's love their Lord, it ain't no lie. Magic means it's never too late to fly. There we are.
There we are.
Okay.
Thank you, Lennie.
Yeah, I want to get back out of this screen. Stop share. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so I just want to urge people to. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. That was pretty feeble, but thanks to Charlie Becker, who's with us today. I just want to say I've been able to sing and play again after many years in remission, so to speak. And it's been
we're going to do it some more, buddy.
Yeah, good. Well, I got to get back to work on my calluses, but I want to thank Rich for inviting us all. And I'd love if there was a way, I'll put my email up and I'd be happy to send to anyone who wants to hear the Song of the Nez Perce or the Clyde Hayes song. I can certainly email it to you as an attachment. I think that's what I tried to do today because I'm not really fit to perform anything.
Lennie, I can do that one better. I can send those links to a broader audience.
You have the links. I sent them just the other day. So, and that's the song, the 2 songs that really kind of inspired me to reach out a little bit. I guess before I sign off, I want to just wish the best to all the offspring of the Hayes, Ann Hayes, and the offspring of Ann and Clyde, and to the Butterfields. I'll say one last thing. My last time up there, which must have been the fall of, well, I don't know, maybe it wasn't the last time. But anyway, I was up there in the fall in the 80s with Grace, and we went up to Tom's Ranch on Prairie Creek, and they were separating the cows from their calves in a very tumultuous operation. But only the week before, Tom's oldest son had been killed. It's a tough country life. He was killed when his pickup was thrown off the road up from Imanaha by the load of hay he was hauling. So when you haul a trailer, be careful. But Steve was taken from the Hayes, from the Butterfield family. So we remember people who have been lost along the way. We remember the people who are being lost today. And I try to keep my spirits up. And it's a song like the one I tried to sing for you that give me some hope. And I appreciate that. I appreciate having a little hope in these times. Thanks again, Rich. Thanks, Heidi, Bob, Steve, Kate. We'll meet one of these days in person and do some songs, hey? One more thing. I owe a little nod to Steve because one of the high points of my illustrious career as a singer-songwriter was performing in the Artichoke Music Series at the Old Church in Portland. And I got a review in the Oregonian, but the guy didn't like me too much. And I showed it to my voice teacher guru down in the Bay Area where I lived. And Bob said, well, how many inches is it? And I said, well, it's about 12. He says, well, that's fantastic. You don't care what the guy wrote. He's an asshole. Sorry me. Anyway, great. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Really, it's been kind of fun.
All right. Thank you, Lennie. Thank you, Steve and Kate. And well, Steve and Kate, you got any final words to say there?
We miss you. Oh,
Yeah.
unmute us.
You're unmuted.
I miss you and the county.
Well, we miss you too. So we better load up that truck of ukuleles. And Janice was on here a little while ago. Heidi's still on the Music Alliance, and Josephy Center ought to put something together, and you ought to bring your ukuleles out here, and we ought to have a hoedown, huh?
We'll work for hamburgers.
We might even make it bison burgers.
Thank you for having us, Rich, and
Thank
everybody.
you.
It's really good to see your faces. Really, it just warms my heart.
It's always great to see all of you. And for those of you out in the, are there anybody got a question or a last comment? There's some nice comments in the chat box. And I don't know when the next brown bag is. I'll make my announcement. Some of you guys don't know. I'm going to Turkey next month in April.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Finally. Wow.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm excited about that. All I've got to do is go there and talk about American Indians for a couple weeks, and I get a free ticket to Ankara. So
Istanbul.
I'm going to Ankara. But
Ankara.
Alvin, Josephy, and Wallowa Country gave me the Nez Perce story, which piqued my interest in the Indian story overall, and there we go.
That's wonderful.
Okay, keep writing, keep singing, and Steve and Kate, get your butts out here again. We want to hear you sing in person, okay?
Okay, we'll come.
All right.
We'll see you later. Before long.
Great to hear you, Lennie and Heidi and Bob.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wonderful
Yeah,
singing.
good.
Wonderful singing.
Beautiful.
Thanks to all of you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Kate, good to see you, kiddo.
Okay, can you leave?
Okay.
See you, Rich. Thanks.
Thank you, Rich.
That looks like him.
Yep.
Lenny,
I
you
like
get
him. He's
that back
articulate.
out here
in
too.
a funny way.
Yeah.
And the song was more clever than some.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
It wasn't about the perfect romance. It was, I need a cook and I need a wood chop.
Yeah. Well, and he said, you missed the part that I was enjoying.
What's happening? Why is it looking like
We got signed off.
we did?
Yeah. but-
I think, because I think you just closed the meeting.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, because I heard
So
some
this is the
voices.
folder?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's really a shame that
There it is.
Larry or Lenny. I mean, he has, and he did an amazing job writing the entire story of the Nez Perce leaving here and going all the way